Who's that?
We're live.
Okay. Hello. We are live. Say hello. Okay. So we're live, and I just had a text from a friend who said, "Where can I find you?" So we're right here. It's the Rebecca Angel Maxwell YouTube channel.
And we're about to do Ask a Homeschooler.
Ask a Homeschooler. Yeah, Ask a Homeschooler. So we are both homeschoolers there, Kathy found us. Hi, Kathy. So my name is Rebecca. You can squish in more. You don't have to bend. There we go. And I homeschooled my two children from K to 12. And both of them, one of them already graduated college and the other one is in his senior semester. So I've done the whole thing. And then introduce yourself.
I'm Isla, and I've been homeschooling since I was born.
Yes. And Isla is my niece. And you are how old now?
13.
What grade?
8th
grade. So we are here to answer questions for people who may suddenly find themselves homeschooling when they did not plan for it because of COVID-19. And now you're at home with your kids all day and not planning for it and not really and wondering and being worried. So what are we here to tell everybody?
How to feel confident and be happy about what's happening right now.
Yeah. Because you can spend time with your kids and you can have a new adventure with them. And there's going to be challenges, but it's probably temporary. So don't sweat it. And we're here to answer any questions that you have about how I got through homeschooling without murdering my two children and then murdering me. And you can also answer those questions and some fun things that we enjoyed. So other things, I did want to say that there is a difference between officially homeschooling and what most people are doing right now who are finding themselves home. So homeschooling technically means that you are pulling your children out of traditional school and you have to write a letter or some official way of telling the school district that you will be in charge of your children's education. And depending on what state you're in, what country you're in, the rules are all over the place and you will need to find those things out if that's actually homeschooling. But if you're doing school at home, usually then you're going to be going through your school district, which is, I think, what most people are doing right now. If you were at school, your kids were at school and now they're just at home, you're going to be doing school at home or online learning. And so with that, you're working with your school district and either your children have all their books with them and they're doing it on your kitchen table, but their teachers are giving them assignments, or perhaps you have live conference calls, especially if your student is in college or in high school. Perhaps they have live conferences that they're able to still teach with their teacher online. So why don't we ask each other some questions, since this will just be hanging out and it's just us right now. So we'll just chat. So let's see. So why don't you describe how you normally homeschool?
Well, we have I have a tutor for math who gives us worksheets that me and my sister we do every day, and then we see her once a week. And we have a tutor for writing who gives us writing assignments to do throughout the week. Our mom gives us, we each have a vocabulary book, and we work through the workbook, and my mom checks it whenever she gets the chance to make sure that we're actually doing our work and not just saying we are. We go to a homeschool group where we take science classes, and my sister does another math tutoring, and my mom helps us with science and stuff, and we have a gym class, and we have a choir that we go and sing with, and piano teacher.
Okay, so that's how you did homeschool. For me, it depended on what year it was. So, I mean, has your homeschooling changed depending on how old you are?
Yes.
How do you think it's changed since you've become a teenager? Well, you can compare it with, because Isla has a younger sister. So is there a difference between your younger sister and how you are treated with your parents in homeschooling?
Not really. There's not really a ton of difference. It really, I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Can you remember, I think when you were little, was there other things that you did?
Well, when I was younger, like my mom used to teach me more. Like, she would help me with math and science and stuff. But now that I'm older, my mom isn't as good at math, so she's not doing. She can't help me with that anymore. So I have more tutors to help me with the sort of stuff that she can't help me with anymore. Where my sister still has my mom help her with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I found that as well. So in the younger grades, I was pretty much doing everything with my kids, and as they got older, though, I would, depending on who we met, we would meet other homeschoolers, and we would do group learning, or if there was a parent we met who really loved this particular subject, and so I would put my kids maybe would hang out with them for a little while. And so we would definitely trade our strengths depending on the different homeschooling people. But I was in the younger grades, I was pretty much in charge of most of the main subjects. But as they got older, we also did more, I don't know, you want to call it like farming out of the different in different subject areas. So for people who are right now, if your kids are home, if you're in high school, they're probably going to be working with their school. But if you have younger kids, you can probably be a lot more in charge of doing stuff with them. And at least help them with their homework and stuff. Whereas in high school, it's sometimes going to be a little bit harder to help them with their homework if you haven't been with them all the way. So Kathy has a question for you. Read it out loud first.
Any advice to help school kids stay focused when they need to work on their own at home? It is hard to stay focused. That is one thing. It's really hard when I'm home and like there's laundry to be done, there's games to be played, there's movies to be watched,
books to be read,
there's drawings to be drawn,
so many things.
There's a lot of things. It's really hard. Before COVID-19, a lot of times if we went to I guess it won't work anymore, but I would go, sometimes being outside can really help. I like to kind of reward myself, say if I do 13 pages of whatever it is and I get all my homework done for this week, then I can go watch a movie with my sister or whatever and kind of do it sort of like that. My sister does it's kind of funny. She does a 10 minutes or to 20 minutes of playing the violin, and after that she gets a chocolate strawberry, and then
chocolate strawberries. And I heard that your mom has a very interesting way to keep you guys motivated at home. Can you share with people?
Yeah, normally when we wake up, we have our breakfast and stuff, and then to make sure that we're really ready to start the day, we listen to the 10-hour loop of Darth Vader's Imperial March, and it really helps us keep going.
That's some motivation. Yeah. So those are some ways. So I found when my kids were younger, especially my son, he could not stay focused unless I was physically touching him. So if I started to move away, he would just start to gaze somewhere else. But if I was physically touching him, even though we're not interacting, he was somehow able to focus on his work. So for those of you who have young kids, like grade school kids, and they have so much homework that they have to do at home with this school at home stuff, it will help if you are just with them. You just sit next to them, and if you have your own thing, you have your own laptop, you got work to do as well, then just be next to them, and often that can help focus. Once they get older, then you can have your own little rewards and things like that to stay focused. And so I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's any other tips or advice for staying focused, but doing it in short chunks is really helpful. So if you have kids, and again, they have a lot to do, regardless of what their age is, if you set that timer, 20 minutes, studies have shown is really the peak of you can keep your attention, and then it starts to fall. So if you set a timer for 20 minutes and just say, do 20 minutes and then take a 5-minute break just to stretch.
Run around the house a few times.
Run around the house. You can run outside. By the way, you can go outside with this virus. You don't have to stay indoors. You can go outside, practice some soccer skills and then, come back in And it doesn't have to be long, 5-minute, 10-minute break. Then you do another chunk. And that way you can get through a lot of work without having any kind of burnout or meltdowns. And yeah, so I think that was a good question.
Lists also help if you have a list with like, I personally love to check off boxes when I'm finished. So writing math 3 pages and then writing a little checkbox next to it and making myself a list for the day. And then later on when I'm finished, like checking off the list, that helps me a lot too, and my sister too, and it's fun.
Yeah, check marks and stuff like that. Yep, keeping those. So the other thing is you do want to have a work schedule. So you can't expect your child, especially if they're new to this and you're new to this, to get every single subject done, all the work, all the time. So I would say start a little slow, but also say, okay, today we're just going to do 2 hours. And then we're going to chill out for the rest of the day, because this is emotionally really tough for everybody. So it's okay to not do 6 hours of school at your, dining room table. That's just going to create meltdowns. So, and there's no need for it either. So you can definitely get things done if you start slow. My kids, we always had a work schedule. And when they were younger, it was really specific. It'd be like, 10 a.m., you should have been already dressed and had your breakfast and did your little morning exercise or whatever. Then you start, doing your music practice and then math and then reading. And then we have lunch and then we do this activity or that activity. It was really specific. Once it got to about junior high, then it was just these things have to get done this day. And then it made sure that throughout the whole week, they would have enough time to do every subject. Even if they didn't do it all the subjects, every single day, I could space it out over the course of the week. And then in high school, my daughter made her own. She was completely independent in creating her own schedule. So one thing, if you have older students or you have a very self-directed learner, they can make up their own schedule. Maybe you just check, and just say, how are you going to do this? And make a plan. Making a plan is nice. It's always good. We have another question. So do I think it would hurt school kids if they did little or no work during this period? It really depends. I would say if there's a month that goes by and your kid is chilling out and needs time to decompress from this emotional strain, it's not going to do, and you can quote me on this, they're going to be fine. They're going to be absolutely fine. There's transitions are really tough for children and especially teenagers. So if this is just for a couple weeks and they literally do nothing, they're going to be fine. They'll catch right back up once they get back into the school. Or if this continues and they needed a couple weeks, also emotionally, there are a lot of cancellations, and dealing with those cancellations and that loss may take a lot longer depending on your child and your kid. If your kid needs time to process things, shoving 4 hours of math, algebra is not going to help them, and they're not going to learn either. So absolutely take time for what your child needs to decompress during this moment. Actually, a lot of people, when they start to officially homeschool, there might be like 6 months of a transition time. So, and speaking of losses, so Isla, how has this changed for you? Because COVID-19, you might say, oh, well, homeschoolers have it easy. They're already home. But there's changes and losses as well. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, my choir got canceled, or postponed at least. So our concerts that we've been working hard to, like we were going to sing at Trent Music Hall, that's been postponed. We were supposed to go to New York City for a trip, but that was canceled.
Oh, the whole trip is canceled. Oh, I didn't know that.
Our homeschool group just moved on to online classes, which I don't even know how that's going to work yet. I haven't read the email. But
yeah, gym, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that was how, so they were socializing.
Yeah,
so now that's not happening.
Another thing is I was on a science Olympiad team, and we got second place in regionals, so we were supposed to go to states, which is next month, and state championships got canceled. So that was really disappointing.
That was hugely disappointing. We were so proud of you for getting to states, and then there just aren't any.
Yeah.
So dealing with those losses is going to be big, especially now. So my son will be graduating college, and he probably won't have a graduation. People who were in high school and had their big senior trips, or say prom, or their graduations canceled. So definitely be patient with your students and your kids during this time. So yeah, it's a good question. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. Set weekly rather than daily goals. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So we have we're both awesome. Yes. And I'm sure Isla would have won a medal at states. We were very proud of you and the work you did at the regionals. But there's a lot of that going around, and arts kids who don't have their recitals.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So I have a tip for anyone who had practiced their presentation for, say, you were going to a science thing where you were presenting your poster, or you had a musical composition and competition you were going to, or you were involved in an arts showcase. Use this thing right here. You can do a live event for your family and friends. And I had to do that. I'm a musician, and I had a thing canceled. So I did a musical thing in my living room. Is it the same? No, but it's better than nothing. So if you have a science, say you have a science poster that you were going to present at the fair, and you did all the work and it's all there. Say you're going to tell your family and friends and make it live, and then show them your poster and talk all about it. And like right now, people can ask you questions and you can respond. And by making it live, it's more of that community feeling that you would have gotten if you were able to do it. If you had gotten the lead in the play, you know what? If you memorize that monologue, do a live event for your family and friends and show off what you practiced. If you were going to do an art show, show your pieces and, for your family and friends as a virtual art show, and then they can respond and ask you questions. So definitely do live online events. And again, live is the biggest thing. And you can do live. We just found out you can do live on Instagram. Okay. So, and it took me a few figuring out how to swipe to find the live button, but you can do live on Instagram, which a lot of kids already have. You can do live on YouTube if you have a YouTube account, and Facebook, I think, even has live capabilities. So, you just get the word out and say, this is when you can come and see me. So those are good things. All right, I have another question for you. So what is something fun? So we already talked about the things that are lost. Now that you don't, because of COVID-19, you can't see your friends as much, you can't do stuff. So there's a lot of loss. But what are the things that you can do that maybe you didn't have as much time for, but now you can?
Read really long books.
Long book reading.
And I like maybe make some movies and videos and stuff with my sister. Which
yes, she is a filmmaker. Check out Pants Before Pants. It's a good film, Pants. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So have you been working on anything?
I'm working on the sequel to Pants.
Okay, her movie series. All right. So now you'll have a lot of time on your hands. Yeah. What else? So long books. You can do videos and movies with your siblings, right? You can do it on your own or with your siblings. What else are you looking forward to?
Playing piano, getting a lot more practice time in.
Yes, as a music teacher, I would say the silver lining in all of this is there is so much time to practice your instrument. Whether you are a cellist or a vocalist or a pianist, you can practice every day for a long time. In fact, and here's my musical teacher plug, set your timer for 20 minutes when you're doing math or reading, whatever, and then for your break, go play the piano or your flute or your cello or your guitar. Just for 5 or 10 minutes and then come back. You do that throughout the day. By the end of this quarantine, we are going to have a musically gifted community out there. So that's my music teacher tip. Use this. You can do it. So yes, you can practice the piano. What else? What else could we do? On our own. You can work on your writing. I'm going to be working on my writing since I have a lot of my own things that have been canceled. I do have more writing time, so I can do that. That's kind of a solo activity. And you can also still do live chat with friends. So you can get together with friends on live chat and nobody will infect each other.
Or if you like getting infected, you can get together with friends and stuff and
smear
cough all over
faces
them.
on them. No, and that's called sarcasm. And homeschoolers do know sarcasm as well. So please don't do that. All right, so if you have any questions, you had a couple there.
Yeah. So do you think that homeschooling helped or didn't your kids get prepared for college?
Good question. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who have their kids in high school or maybe even before that who are worried that this is going to affect their ability to get into college. And I can tell you right now that it will not. They will be fine. Educationally and scholastically, being at home and doing work did not do anything against homeschoolers. You can check all the statistics about that online if you want. But on my own personal experience, my kids got into every college they applied for and didn't have any problem with that. I think especially this year's colleges are going to be very understanding about uncompleted work or projects. I mean, how could they not be? Because it's going to be the entire world at this point that will say, oh, I got this internship and then I couldn't do it. You know, I mean, so, you know, still put on, if you're looking for high school transcripts, you can put things that you were supposed to be doing and didn't get a chance to do, but the fact that you had that plan. And I think that there's also this chance to be creative. So if on the high school transcript, you said during the COVID virus, my child read 424 books and they're up on Goodreads with full reviews. Or my kid was supposed to be doing a lot, you know, like they were supposed to be doing all these music auditions, and they put all of them up on YouTube. So be creative. And as far as the educational aspect, they're fine. They're going to be fine. So don't worry about that. They will get into the colleges that they were hoping to get to. And the schools are absolutely going to be working with what you physically are possible for them to do. So good question. And oh, it's Karina. Hi, Karina. Oh, that's nice. So
I think he's talking about you.
For me, well, that's actually your sister. She's logged in. So Isla's younger sister is utilizing the account to say that she would practice the piano, but her older sister is always hogging it. So that's a problem when everybody wants to do that. What if we wanted to get to the moon but didn't? Can we put that on a transcript? Yes. Oh, okay. Now your mom is there.
I think Thea's on that account.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, if you got the opportunity to go to the moon and then it was canceled, you can absolutely put that on your transcript to answer that very serious question.
Also,
Absolutely.
I don't know why they wouldn't let you go to the moon because it's probably safer up there than it is on Earth right now.
Yeah.
So anybody who's living in outer space, if you're watching this video, just know you're super lucky and you should just be happy and enjoy space while.
Yeah. Right now. Yeah, it's good. All right, so I think we said a lot of different things. Please, you can be confident that your children are going to be just fine and that you can do a fine job being in charge of them because you are with them. You know them better than the teachers do. You really do. Your mom and dad know you better than your tutors. I mean, well, maybe except for me, because I know you. No, your mom and dad know you better than I do. I'm just Auntie Becca. But you know your kids, you know what they need. And if you're not sure, ask. You know, always ask them how they're doing, how they're feeling. And if they say, I'm really only in the mood to play video games with my friends because I miss them for, you know, the afternoon. And then you're like, okay, you know, like, so that's not the plan for every day. But if that's what you need for today, then that's okay. And then the next day, all right, let's start on the math, you know, and hopefully you can find online people to help if they get stuck. All right. And How should we share one computer for students who now all have to be online, plus parents who need to work online? That's a really, really good question. There are a lot of people who don't even have a computer, and with libraries closed, this is a pretty serious thing. So I'd like to put in, before I even answer that question, I would like to say if you have extra computers, and that includes tablets, please find places where you can donate them. I'll put them in the notes for this video because I found a place. There are many, many kids and students who do not have any form of computer or tablet, and their parents don't either, and they need them in order to do their work. So if you have any, then you need to donate it. If you have to share a computer, so now what's the computer situation in your house?
I have my grandma's computer, my mom has a computer, my dad has a laptop, and then we have two really, really, really old iPods. Things.
No, those are iPods.
No.
Oh, you have an iPad. Yeah, you do have iPads.
Which don't work for anything. So basically...
Oh, they can't connect anymore?
We basically have two computers that we use, which
Okay.
is my grandma's computer and my mom's computer. And whenever one of us is on, like my mom will be working on the computer, and then I'll be working on my computer, and then my sister will do something different, like read a book or do written homework, and we'll take turns alternating throughout that. Now, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to take turns. So I can say that until my kids, I think my daughter was until she was 14, we had 2 computers for all of us, and that included 2 kids homeschooling. I worked from home as a writer and a music teacher, and then my husband worked outside the home. And so he basically had his own computer that we couldn't use because it was his work computer that he work paid for. So I, who worked at home, and my 2 kids who homeschooled used one computer for the majority of our homeschooling. And like I said, they did okay. It means taking turns. It means that probably there's not going to be a lot of gaming going on because...
So play board games.
Yeah, play board games. Because somebody's going to need that computer for actual work. And that's just going to be how it is. And remember, this is temporary. So the fact that you have to break out the board games while somebody's using the computer or playing your instrument or reading a book or all the things that don't go online while you're waiting, you can do. Because I'm sure that all schools have books that you're supposed to be reading as part of your assignments. So that's what you do when you're waiting for the computer. Again, you got an instrument, go outside, run around, play board games, things like that. So there's definitely things you can do while you're waiting, but you will have to take turns. And that's going to be the reality. And I would also suggest that if you only have one computer, keep it in the public space. So keep it on the dining room table. And that way, as a parent, you can check if they're actually doing their work when you've been waiting to use a computer to do your work, and then you find out they're not. So keep it in a public space so you can keep track of what's going on if you have to share. All right, so I think that, oh, yes. We have a suggestion from Bridget that says to put out lots of healthy snacks. That's really important. Being in one place means that people start to eat because they're bored. And you do not want kids just eating because they're bored and they're sitting around.
And another thing is if you're working, let's say, and your kid gets hungry or something, like you're working and let's say you're like in the middle of an important video call and you don't want your kids coming in and being like, oh, I'm so hungry and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Just put out the snacks, and then my mom puts them out and they stay there like all day, and my sister and I just constantly run into the dining room, we grab some food, shove it in our mouth, run back to our work, and then...
Yeah, what's some examples of good healthy snacks?
Oh.
This is... we love food here.
Peppers, cucumbers, lots of peppers, the different kinds, lettuce, chips and salsa.
Oh, chips and salsa. We had a lot of nuts and dried fruit.
Yeah, nuts and dried fruit
out all the time, so there's some healthy grazing happening.
Yeah, sometimes deli meat, not always. Yeah. Once in a while, we'll have it as like a special treat or whatever.
So mostly fresh fruits and veggies. Mm-hmm. You know, nuts are a good one, and they can stay out. Like that's the other thing is that they can just be out and they're not going to spoil. We had something else. Put down your video projects, etc. Stuff you wouldn't do in school. Put down. Do you mean to do? Oh, to do them. Yeah. Like the things that you normally are doing as like your extra stuff, you can now have time for, like video projects and stuff. Let's see, carrots. That's the other thing. What do we have for college applications? Put down on a college application. Yes, absolutely. So if you're doing extra things while you're at home, like a video project, or you really worked on your music. I'm just gonna keep coming back to music. Or you have time to do art. We haven't even talked about art stuff. Those are the things that you can put on a college application. You can put all of the creative ways that you're using your time. And I wasn't kidding about the Goodreads thing. That was on my son's college applications. He was a huge reader. And so I told him to put up everything he read on Goodreads with a review. And that was in his college transcript, all the documented how much he read, and not just read the book, but then would have a review. So you can still put things that are going on right now that will help them with their, also, if your kid is a big gamer and they live stream their games, that is something, also if you say that they have an account where people watch them play their video games, there's esports right now. Do you know about that? That's people who play video games and they actually get college scholarships to go there, and there's esports. So if that's something they're good at, but make sure that they're live streamed and people are keeping track, so that's something that the colleges can look at. So not a total waste. Goodreads reviews, yep. And I think, let's see, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
No, I think we got, one more fun thing. Oh yeah, this is close to my heart. I'm a huge Olympics fan. Guess what? The Olympics are on. Japan is gonna lose a ton of money for the fact that they're not gonna have all the tourists coming there, but they are doing the Olympics. And the torch has been lit this week. It was lit in Greece. It's being flown over to Japan. And then for the next, like March, April, May, the end of March, then April, May, June, they start in July. The torch is going to be touring around Japan by foot and all different people. So if you're not sure what to do, say you have younger students and maybe your school is not really set up for online learning and you don't know what to do with your students, this is a fantastic opportunity to do history and culture. So you can learn all about Japan by watching every day. You can go to the Olympic sites, Tokyo 2020, and you can follow where the torch is and learn about Japan's history. You can learn about Olympic history, which is for so long, and it's really, really cool. You can even do a mini Olympics in your house with your siblings. So that is definitely something that we can all do. We can virtually watch the Olympics together, and you can start that right now and learn all about that. All right, we had a couple things here. High school transcripts. Yeah, you can use high school transcripts for college. I guess I misspoke. I said something about college transcripts. I meant high school transcripts for college is what you're trying to write things for. Anything else? Do you think as a homeschooler they will let me in the Olympics? I don't think so. Sorry. But a lot of Olympians are homeschooled.
Really?
Yeah, because they have to train so much. So if you're wondering, does homeschooling help somebody achieve?
Well, definitely if you have a pool you can go to and you're a homeschooler and you're like into swimming or whatever and you want to like get better, you can go to the pool a lot more and like swim a lot more.
Yeah, it depends if they're open. That's the thing. A lot of the exercise places are closing right now. So that might be tough. But if you have a different Olympic sport, most of them are homeschooled. A lot of like famous musicians and stuff are homeschooled. Billie Eilish, who is a big pop star right now, she's homeschooled so that they could work on their projects. Anything else? Hanging out with your family is something you can do with your free time. Absolutely. This is a time to get together and know your family. And that can be a good thing. It really can. I assure you. Can I do another cool history camp? No, but thanks for asking. I used to do history camps, an online one. Okay. So let's see. Somebody in our house is making podcasts. Podcasts. That's a wonderful thing to do with your time. Yes. So in case anybody is not aware, Podcasting is internet radio. So you record anything. So if you want to do a podcast that's people chatting about a certain topic, say, what are you interested in? Smiling. Well, you were excited about telling us about healthy snacks.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it was a healthy snacks podcast, and you and Thea would talk about healthy snacks, and it's a 20-minute podcast, and you put it up every week, and then people can listen to it on iTunes, and there's all these different places where you can listen to podcasts. You can record podcasts on, if you have a Mac computer, you can use GarageBand to very easily do that. By the way, GarageBand is a fun thing to play around with. If your kid is bored, just have them open GarageBand and just start clicking buttons, and they're going to have a good time. Audacity is a free music recording software that you can download if you want to make podcasts. What is, Karina, what is the person in your house, I'm not sure which one, is using? Do you know what software they're using to record their podcast? I didn't say podcast. I said podcast. Beth Jock. So, okay, we're not sure. Anchor. Okay, I don't know the one. ANCHOR. Okay. So yeah, movies, podcasts, you can do all sorts of things with this time on your hands. I'm eating one of your pies. All right, I think we're done. I think our questioners, thank you so much for joining us. And if you have more questions for Ask a Homeschooler, you can put it in the comments, and then who knows, maybe we'll do a follow-up and have to answer those questions, maybe. So if we didn't answer your questions. Yes, my sister is now asking me online during our live broadcast, can I bring her daughter home? Yes, I will. Yes, Bridget, I'm going to bring your daughter home. Okay, is that good? Will I have a snack when I get there? Do you have any cucumbers left? Is that good? Okay. All right. Thank you guys who came and tuned in and asked us questions. We love you for making this fun. Any final words? No final words? None? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Stay positive, I guess.
Stay positive. Yes. Bye.
Yes.
Yes.